In Venezuela, the candidate registration process for the July 28th presidential election reaches its third day. In Russia, President Vladimir Putin denounced Ukraine's authorities for their involvement in a terrorist attack in which 150 people were killed. And in Palestine, authorities report new airstrikes by the Israeli occupation army in the city of Rafah that left at least 8 dead and several injured. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. On Saturday, the nomination of candidates for the presidential elections to be held next July 28th continues in Venezuela. During the process, the political organizations Podemos and Partido Comunista de Venezuela, which are part of the Gran Polo Patriótico, registered before the National Electoral Council the current President Nicolás Maduro as candidate for re-election to the presidency of Venezuela. Also, Luis Eduardo Martinez was nominated as presidential candidate by the Acción Democrática Party, while with the support of the opposition political movement Voluntad Popular and the Arepa Party, the candidate Daniel Ceballos presented his candidacy for the presidential elections. The process of registration of candidacy has been taking place since March 24th and will conclude on March 25th before the electoral authorities, the main Venezuelan electoral body, in compliance with the electoral chronogram. And as we have been reporting, the registration process of presidential candidates continue in Venezuela. For more details, our correspondent Gladys Quesada live from Caracas.
Thanks, Luis, for the contact and also for the time here in teleSUR English and also to From the South. Yes, as you were saying, the process of the registry of each nominee continues here in Caracas in Venezuela as part of the electoral schedule ahead of the presidential elections of July 28th. As we will have been covering this, it started 2 days ago on March 21st and will conclude on March 25th on Monday. And all the political forces, even from the opposition and also from the affiliates of the government, they have the opportunity to come here to the National Electoral Council after submitting their virtual and digital nomination and registry and come here and in person deliver not only the evidence of their nomination and the evidence of the financial support for the campaign events. Also, they have the opportunity to register their nominee as the candidate for their political force. So far, in the 2 days prior to this, the opposition forces in coalitions also have come here as the Democratic Action, as Popular Will, and the Arepa Digital and Alianza Lápiz. Those are opposition parties that have traction in the country and have come here to submit their candidacies and to do the registration. So far today, a new organization affiliated with the government, El Movimiento Futuro, the Future Movement, had come here with their affiliates and other delegates in grassroots organizations to do their endorsement for President Nicolás Maduro Moros as the candidate for their political force as part of the Great Patriotic Poll. Let's recall that a week ago was the official nomination of President Nicolás Maduro Moros as the candidate by this political force in the country, which is the greatest, the largest political force, a leftist political force here in Venezuela. Also, is the political force that has been leading the country for the past 25 years. So it's paramount to know that Movimiento Futuro is a new organization that is affiliated to this one, but also it gathers feminists, LGBTQI people, ecologists, scientists, technicians, intellectuals, and artists. So this is a broad grassroots affiliate basis, and also it comprehends various sectors of the Venezuelan society. That was what happened today here in the National Electoral Council. Currently, I'm here at the registration venue, and the nomination will continue, the registry will continue all over the day, and also they will come here. And it is expected that also other candidates of the opposition will be here present to present their nomination and to officially become a candidate ahead of the July 28th presidential elections. Right now, that's the information. We will have more details, and also we can advance something. Other parties from the Great Patriotic Pole will be present here in the afternoon time to do the same and to legally make their nomination for a candidate. That's the information, Luis. That's the information so far. I will be here, standing here, to give you all the details and to collect all the information. Back to you.
Thank you, Gladys, for the latest updates. We're going to continue now in other news. Mexico and Venezuela signed an agreement for the repatriation of Venezuelan migrants, which seeks to protect them from the abuses of the United States border authorities and guarantee them a return to their homeland with opportunities for the future, in which, in addition to the executive of both nations, other sectors are involved.
We have just signed an agreement with Venezuela. President Nicolás Maduro wishes cold return to the motherland. We are sending Venezuelans back to their country because we cannot handle these amounts. But the president has instructed us that every migrant that we are sending back to Venezuela should have support like the one we are given here, like the one from Young People Building the Future of Sewing Life. So we already have an amount we are already giving to the migrants that return to Venezuela. We are giving them a cause so that they can join a program, which is not exactly Young People Building, but is a welfare program.
Cuban President Miguel Díaz-Canel visited Thursday several communities and places of economic interest in the eastern provinces of Guantanamo and Santiago de Cuba. Hundreds of people lined the streets of the communities to give a warm and massive welcome to the Cuban president, who stopped to shake hands and talk with his residents. Last Sunday, some localities of the area were the focus of demonstrations due to power cuts and instability in the distribution of the basic food basket. The president's tour began on Thursday morning and included also productive centers where he encouraged its workers to do their best and remain united in defense of the homeland. Let's take a short break, but remember you can join us on TikTok at teleSUR English, where you will find news in different formats, news updates, and much more. Other stories coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back from the South. Russian President Vladimir Putin accused Ukraine of involvement in the terrorist attack against the Crocus City Hall Concert Center in Moscow. The Russian president described the terrorist attack as the country's deadliest in years and praised the work of security forces in rescuing survivors. He also added that the 4 people involved in the attack had been detained while trying to cross the border to Kiev, as they were trying to escape. In this regard, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced the preparation of routes from Ukraine to allow the attackers to cross. Russian authorities report the arrest of 11 people linked to the terrorist attack in Moscow's Crocus City Hall, in which 150 people were killed and more than 100 were injured. The information was communicated to President Vladimir Putin by the head of the Federal Security Service, Alexander Bortnikov. The official said that among those arrested were 4 terrorists who opened fire on people gathered in the Moscow concert hall. Bortnikov added that 4 of the perpetrators of the attack were detained in the province of Bryansk, bordering Ukraine. Additionally, work is currently being carried out to identify accomplices. In the meantime, the Russian Investigative Committee reported that automatic weapons were found and seized after the inspection of the room. Authorities report that the fire that developed in the Crocus City Hall concert near Moscow after the terrorist attack was almost completely extinguished. 477 people and 183 teams were mobilized to extinguish the fire that continued after the attack. The governor of Moscow province, Andrei Vorovyov, reported that there are still individual pockets of fire, but that the fire has been mostly extinguished. Vorovyov revealed that the roof of the performance hall in the building collapsed and added that work to clear debris is still going on. The Crocus City Hall is a major concert venue right outside the Russian capital. It opened in October 2009 and was named after Muslim Mogomayev, a legendary Soviet singer born in present-day Azerbaijan. The complex also includes a children's amusement center and a wedding venue. It boasts an auditorium with over 13,000 seats, a concert hall with a capacity of 7,500 people, and a theater with almost 5,500 seats. The venue hosted the 2013 Miss Universe pageant and has also hosted numerous concerts by prominent Western performers such as Aha, Eric Clapton, and Joe Cocker. The husband of a woman who was at the concert at the time of the attack offered some statements. Let's listen.
I am in a complete panic. My whole body hurts, even my heart, blood pressure rose and all that. I took medicine and felt better. I don't know what to do, complete hopelessness. My friends can only tell me to just wait for the list of victims, wait for the phone line at the hospital to open up. My wife went to the concert with friends. My friend is standing here, his wife also went there. At 8 o'clock, she called for literally 5 minutes, but you couldn't understand anything. I tried shouting into the phone, but I didn't understand what was happening at all, and as soon as I heard, I came here.
In this context, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Azerbaijan has also commented on this event and stated that they strongly condemn the heinous attack on the Crocus City concert complex in Moscow. They also expressed their heartfelt condolences to the families of the innocent victims, as well as to the people and the government of the Russian Federation. In addition, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs wishes a speedy recovery to all the injured. As a country victim of terrorism, Azerbaijan condemns terrorism in all its forms. The President of the Republic of Kazakhstan, Tokayev, declares that Kazakhstan strongly condemns the terrorist act against civilians in Moscow. The leader of the government states that there can be no justification for terrorism and that they call on UN member states to declare their unanimous rejection of this kind of violence against innocent citizens. On behalf of the head of state, the Kazakh law enforcement agency, if necessary, will provide assistance to the Russian law enforcement agencies. The President of Kazakhstan also expressed his condolences to President Vladimir Putin for the many victims of the terrorist attack. In this context, families, friends, and people in general braved the Russian capital's cold Friday night and went to the scene of the terrorist attack at Moscow City Hall to lay flowers and hold a silent candlelit vigil for the victims. We have a fun short break coming up, but before we invite you to join our WhatsApp community for our English-speaking audience. You can scan the QR code on screen to join directly and share the link to reach more people. Constant news coverage of Latin America and the Caribbean as well as the rest of the world. Stay connected and informed with teleSUR. Fun short break, don't go away. Welcome back to From the South. Palestinian authorities report new airstrikes by the Israeli regime in the city of Rafah that left at least 8 dead and several injured. The bombing took place in a residential area in the Nasser neighborhood northwest of Rafah. Authorities reported that among the fatalities were 3 children and 3 women, while the wounded remain in critical condition. While the Israeli occupation continues its invasion of the Shifa medical complex in the Gaza Strip, where it deployed dozens of tanks and vehicles to close in on the vicinity of the hospital. In Palestine, the Israeli occupation force prevents the access of worshippers to the Al-Aqsa Mosque occupied Jerusalem during the second Friday of Ramadan. At least 1,200 worshippers arrived at the temple complex to perform the traditional prayers related to this date, in spite of the restrictions imposed by Israel. Witnesses reported that the Tel Aviv army reinforced its military presence in the north and east of Jerusalem and south of Bethlehem, and also turned back hundreds of believers, arguing that they lacked permits to enter. They also deployed their military in alleys of the old city of Jerusalem and at the entrances of the Al-Aqsa Mosque as part of the harassment of the faithful. Lebanon's army intelligence arrested 3 suspects involved in the assassination of Palestinian leader Hadi Mustafa. According to what was revealed, one of the main members of the network is a Lebanese and 2 Syrians who were arrested in raids last night in and around the southern city of Tyre. The capture of those involved inside the camp occurred in coordination with the Intelligence Directorate, which has been tracking them since the beginning of the investigation into the attack on Mustafa. In this regard, Palestinian sources quoted by the network revealed details of a cell suspected of being involved in the assassination of the fighter of the military wing of Hamas, Hadi Mustafa, in Lebanon. On Thursday, before a meeting with Secretary of State Antony Blinken, the foreign ministers of 5 Arab nations met in Egypt with a representative of the Palestinian government. At the end of the conclave, the heads of the foreign offices of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Jordan, Egypt, and the United Arab Emirates reiterated their rejection of any attempt to displace Palestinians from their lands. The Palestinian Minister of Civil Affairs, who attended the meeting in Cairo, reiterated together with the senior diplomats the demand for a complete and immediate ceasefire, as well as the opening of all Palestinian lands, as well as the opening of all border crossings. The meeting took place within the framework of intense negotiations between Arab countries and representatives of the government of the United States and Israel. And in the world of sports, the Cuban athlete Mijail Lopez, 4-time Olympic wrestling champion, announced on Friday that he is preparing to fight for his 5th consecutive crown in Paris 2024. It should be noted that 3 years ago in Tokyo 2020, the Cuban equaled the milestone of the U.S. athletes Carl Lewis in long jump, Michael Phelps in swimming, and Alfred Werter in discus throw. All of them are champions in 4 consecutive Olympic events in the same sport discipline. It was thought that the time had come for his well-deserved retirement, but Lopez says he will go to Paris for his 5th title, which will make him the only male athlete to achieve that achievement in the modern era. Mijail Lopez, native of Pinar del Rio, a province in the west of Cuba, is a wrestling athlete who is a 5-time Pan American champion and 4-time Olympic champion. He was elected among the 10 best Latin American Caribbean athletes of the second decade of the 21st century, considered the most complete wrestler of this century at the Olympic Games held in Tokyo, Japan on August 2, 2021. He won for the 4th consecutive time the gold medal to secure the top of the competition, as he did in Beijing 2008, London 2012, and Rio de Janeiro 2016. During the opening ceremony of the same Olympics, he also became the first Cuban representative to become the country's flag bearer 4 times. The world's biggest tulip garden opens to the public for its 75th edition, with hundreds of thousands of people expected to enjoy a bewildering array of 7 million bulbs in the western Dutch city of Lisse. Contains millions of tulips of every color, as well as other flowers across 32 hectares. This year, one of the many highlights of the show includes a golden yellow tulip named after King Charles III and a musical extravaganza to celebrate 75 years of Keukenhof featuring Dutch opera singer Laetitia Gerards. But the opening was the excuse for a manifestation where 7 naked protesters of the climate group Extinction Rebellion briefly staged a protest against the use of pesticide in the bulb growing industry. We have come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our social media on Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For telesur English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.